Hey everyone, this is Lil already from Abstract Music Lab, and today we're back here in the sound design channel. Today we're recreating a lead called Gnarly, and this is how it sounds like if you want to listen to it and also check the MIDI. Really cool sound, and if you want to start using it right away, you can just get the DIVA Presets Collection Volume 2. This preset is part of it in the Deep Melodic Foundations for DIVA pack that you can find in this collection, and essentially you can find it over here in the description below. But now let's get started with this tutorial. As usual over here, I'm using a kickstart to add a little bit of sidechain and also a low cut, just to tame a little bit of the low end in the mix. But we're gonna do the preset with the sidechain and the low cut completely disabled, so let's get started with this. So essentially, you're gonna open up DIVA over here, and this is how it sounds like. And in DIVA, we're gonna start by choosing here an oscillator dual VCO economic. So this is an economic version of the dual VCO. And essentially, the first thing that we're gonna do is the tune mod over here, and we're gonna start with the envelope 2. So envelope 2, we're going to start by putting the attack at 0. The decay is going to go at 17. But before everything, let's listen to what it will cause in the sound. So we're going to put this over here. And essentially, this is going to change the tuning of the sound. So if we intensify this, you can see that it does a pyong, 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 pyong. And we don't want this. We just want the little bit of attack in the beginning of the sound. And you see how it creates a pyong, 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 pyong. That's what we want with the sound. No release, no attack, no sustain. The release is going to remain F50. And also, in addition to that, we're going to add a little bit of velocity and a little bit of keyboard tracking as well. Essentially, these two, what they're going to do is the higher the velocity or the higher the note that you're playing in your keyboard, the bigger is the amp over here in this envelope. So essentially, it's going to intensify this envelope. And basically, that's it. That's the starting point of the sound. And now we're going to choose a saw over here in VCO number 1. We're going to change a little bit of the pulse width, but it's not supposed to change much as this is for mainly square waves. And in addition to that, we're going to choose a 16 over here. And you might say to me, Leo, but it sounds too deep. Yes, and it is sounding too deep because we have to go over here first. In the main section, we have to pick this transpose and put it to 0. And we also have to pick this poly mode over here and put it to legato. And that's pretty much it. Well, in addition to that, now we're going to go back to the VCOs. In the VCO number 2, it's going to remain as it is. We're going to add a little bit of detune to it, but first we're going to pick the octave and put it an octave up. And just so you can listen to what we're playing, essentially we have a really low octave, which is this one over here. And we have a really high octave, which is this second over here. The second one, we're going to detune it just ever so slightly. It's just a slight detuning, but in addition to that, we're going to pick the level of the second and put it a bit quieter as well. Now, in addition to that, we're going to go in the mixer. We're going to choose a pre, and we're just going to raise it just a tiny bit, just to get cleaner a little bit in the low end. Now we have to shape the envelope of the sound, and that's modified in the envelope 1. And we're going to choose an analog over here. We're going to start with an attack that is a little bit higher. You can see that it pretty much takes that attack away a little bit. We're going to go over here, the decay, a little bit higher as well. But we're going to bring that sustain all the way down to something like this. So you can see that it becomes more of a pluck. We're going to also pick this release over here and put it all the way down. And now the velocity also just a little bit up. Now, in addition to that, we're going to choose a filter multi-mode. And we're going to pick this attack and put it all the way up with the cutoff over here. But this is going to make the sound really loud, so I'm going to make this a bit quieter. Perfect. Now, in addition to that, we're also going to introduce a little bit of resonance over here. And we're going to choose an LP4, which is a 24 dB filter. In addition to that, what we also have to do over here is pick this keyboard tracking, put it all the way around the half over here. And essentially what this does is the higher you play in the keyboard, the more cutoff it's going to have. And in addition to that, we also have to modulate this with envelope 2 and the LFO. So envelope 2 is going to be quite short. just a tiny bit of it, but the LFO2 is what's gonna mainly do everything. And you can see that when we have it all the way up, we're gonna normally have it at 100, and it's gonna change the sound a lot. So the first thing that we're gonna do here in LFO2, we're gonna change the polarity to bipolar. Essentially, a bipolar polarity is if we had the filter staying over here, a unipolar would go all the way up and back, but the bipolar goes up and down, up and down. So that's how we're choosing over here. Now we're gonna go and phase all the way down, delay all the way down. The rate is going to go a little bit higher, and the rate mod is also going to go a little bit higher as well. And this is going to kind of modulate the rate over here. So in addition to this, we're going to choose a sine sync. The difference between the gate and the sync is that the gate is every time that you press a note, and the sync is basically sync to the beat of your song. Now, in addition to that, we're going to pick this modulation over here and put it to 79, something like this. The thing is, we're not going to use mod wheel. We're going to use the LFO1 as the modulator of LFO2. So now let's go to LFO1. LFO1, we're going to put over here the phase all the way down. The delay is going to be a bit higher, so it's going to take a little while for the modulations to start. And we're going to increase the rate just by a tiny bit. But in addition to that over here, we're going to use, again, triangle sync. But we're using here 1/16th. And the depth mod over here is going to be fully controlled by the mod wheel. What does this mean, though? Well, essentially, this means that whenever we play this, nothing changes. But if we change the mod wheel, you can see that the mod wheel changes how the sound reacts, because this is being controlled partially by the LFO1, and this is being controlled totally by the mod wheel. So essentially, this is also being controlled by the mod wheel as well. Well, essentially, that's pretty much it. Now, in addition to that, we also have to add a little bit of vibrato to the sound. But again, remember that the vibrato is tied to the LFO1, as you can see it over here, and this is fully tied to the mod wheel, so it only activates when we increase the mod wheel over here. Otherwise, you won't be able to listen to anything. Now we're going to add a little bit of glide to the sound, just to make the sound glide a bit between the notes. In addition to that, we're going to add a little bit of pan mod for the LFO1, again tied to the mod wheel, just around 14 over here. So essentially, the higher we increase the mod wheel, the sounds are going to start panning a little bit as well. Now we're going to go into the modifications tab, and again, tied to the LFO2, we're going to just modify this a little bit. You're going to leave this around something like this, and you can see that we received an M over here after we tweaked everything. Essentially, the LFO2 is going to be modulating the FM section as well. But again, remember that we have to add a little bit of mod wheel for the sound to start changing and everything. But now we're going to go into the trimmers tab, and we're going to change this over here just a little bit more to the right. We're going to make this ever so slightly detuned, as you can listen. You can see that the detune raised a bit, but we're going to make this a bit less intense by changing this to something around this. We're also going to change the amount of glide over here in the voice drift. And that's pretty much it with the sound. Now we're going to go into the effects section. And in the effects section, we're going to go for a plate, and then we're going to go for a delay afterwards. First, reverb. We're going to make this a bit less intense and make this more dry as well. Maybe a bit more. The size is going to remain as it is, but we're going to intensify the decay a lot more, so it's going to be a bit longer. And this is not going to be fully damped, just a little bit. We're going to intensify this a little bit. Essentially, the higher frequencies are going to damp a lot faster than the lower frequencies. And the diffusion is going to remain as it is, and the pre-delay as it is as well. Now in the delay section, we're going to go and keep the dry as it is, center as it is. The volume is going to remain as it is. But we don't want the delay to be exactly like the original sound. We want to shape it a little bit. We want to EQ that a little bit. So the high pass, we're going to take a little bit of the low end of the delays, of the reflections. And we're also going to take a little bit of high end from the reflections as well. We're going to intensify this feedback over here. And we're going to change over here the left as well. Now adding kickstart and the EQ and playing in context. And that's how you recreate that sound. I hope that you liked it. Again, if you like the preset, you can get it over here in the DIVA Presets Collection Volume 2 that you can find in the description. And if you liked the video, hit the like button. If you loved it, hit the subscribe. And I hope to see you soon in the next Sound Design Channel video. This is Lilo Ready from Abstract Music Lab signing off. Cheers.
Hi, this video is sponsored by us. If you like these tutorials and want to support the channel, please check out our website packed with online courses and professional sample packs. Also check our ready-to-use and club-tested Serum presets. You can browse by the genre and style you're looking for, or get the incredible deal with the full Serum preset bundle. Thank you for listening, and now let's get back to your tutorial.